Welcome, everybody, to a new way to enjoy the beautiful game you already know. My name's Ifti. I'm joined by co-hosts Nabir, Aziz, and Faris, who will introduce themselves in a little bit. But I just wanted to share what this podcast is all about. The beautiful game we know is spreading all over the world, and current media outlets that cover the game aren't very well catered to new markets like the US or Saudi Arabia, Asia, etc., you name it. So we want to make this podcast to share our insights, our ball knowledge in a way that's easy to digest for anyone that wants to get into the sport, this league, and many other leagues. So let's start one by one introducing ourselves. My name's Ifti. I'm a huge Arsenal fan, and I can't wait to get started.
All right, I'll go next. I'm Ifti's brother, Nabir. I'm also a Arsenal fan, and I'm just here to try and say my opinions about the beautiful sport.
My name is Faris. I'm friends with these guys, Chelsea fan, and I'm just here to spread the narrative, the agenda, whatever it takes. And yeah, excited.
Hi, my name is Aziz. I'm a big Madrid fan, and I like smaller teams here and there, but I'll be your international correspondent to cover the Saudi League this season. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Love it. Love to hear it, man. All right, so we're going to start off strong right away. We know that the Premier League season is starting this upcoming weekend, and I think everyone here has a lot of thoughts. We've been dying for football to come back, and it's very close. And this is all of our opportunity to lock in some predictions to be able to say, I told you so at the end of the season, right? And I think the most contentious topic, and the one we'll start with, it's not the top 4 prediction. It's not the top 6 prediction. It's the top 8 prediction, because this league is the most competitive it's ever been. Okay, so we're all going to go one by one and start with our 8th spot and work our way all the way up to who we think will be the Premier League champions for the 2023-2024 season. I'll start us off with my 8th place prediction. And it may seem a little biased because I am an Arsenal fan, but I have Tottenham Spurs finishing 8th place.
Wow.
I've been paying a lot of attention to them because they are our rivals. I've watched a little bit of their preseason games. I watched the Barca game, probably the closest. They did have their second string players out on the field.
Right.
And they showed a lot of ability to be able to play in tight spaces that they didn't really show at all last year. There's definitely a structure to how this new coach, Ange, I don't even know how to say his last name, plays, but he definitely has some ideas that he's been able to instill very quickly into this team. But I think they're just playing catch up at a really bad spot in this league. And even though I think they'll have flashes of good performances, I just think new coach, new system, it's not going to click right away, and you don't really have a lot of time to figure things out, especially this year. So that's why I have them 8th.
All right.
No, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. I'll take over from here, and I'll say my 8th place prediction is Brighton Hove Albion. Not that Chelsea has a rivalry with them or anything, but I think my main concern with them and other teams like Villa is they are going to be playing in Europe this season. I think Brighton is playing in the Europa League or the Conference League. I'm not sure. And same thing with Villa. I just think the strength of schedule is going to be really tough for them, especially come November, December. So that would be my biggest, because I think Brighton finished 6th last season. Is that right?
6th.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the Europa League.
Okay, Europa. So I definitely think they're going to fall off a place or two. So 8th or 7th seems likely for them. So that's my shout.
All right. Who's next?
I'm gonna piggyback off of that. I'm assuming you didn't have Aston Villa in your top 8, but I do, and that's my 8th spot. I really think Emery. So they were 7th last year, and so they're gonna be playing in the Conference League.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that Emery is a good Europe coach, and I think they'll go far, but they'll still be able to keep Aston Villa in the race in the top 8. I think they made some great signings this year. They got Pau Torres as the center back, and they also have got the right winger, Musa Diaby. And the way I've seen a little clips in here and there about Ollie Watkins, I think this is gonna be one of his breakout seasons. Even if he already didn't break out last season, but I think they look threatening up top, and then they got hopefully Pau Torres fits right in and creates some defensive stability. But I think they might be scary. I was hesitant to put them even higher up, but it's top 8. There's a lot of strong teams, but I decided to keep them in the 8th position.
It's a solid shout, very solid shout.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Spurs at 8th. Just because
Hey.
from what I heard about, I mean, obviously I've never watched the Scottish League, but from what I heard that like he takes his first season there was not good. And then it took him some time to, to kind of like implement his system the way he wants to play, and get all the players on board with his playing philosophy and whatnot. So I think they're gonna take some time to shine, but like for now, 8th, barely 8th.
Yeah,
Wow.
and look, I don't see that as a slight or a bad thing. This appointment they made for me was actually scary because they seem to have shifted away from this win now mindset and are finally, investing in a project. So even though I do think they'll finish bottom of the pack this year, I think it bodes well for them in future years. And that's something scary I think, for the rest of the league. And then I'll continue us with my 7th place prediction. And for me, that's where I think Brighton will finish.
Okay.
European scheduling, it's a very good point, but I really do think it depends on like the level of competition you're in. Nabir put Villa at 8th, even with their European schedule. Probably, I think it has something to do with the fact that Conference League opponents really aren't gonna be all that troubling for them in terms of they'll be able to rotate a lot and still maintain fitness in their prem players.
Right.
And I think a similar situation with Brighton. They have a surprisingly strong squad. Like we all know their first 11, but these guys pop up with really, really talented players, even in their bench, and who knows what they have waiting in their reserves. And I think they'll have opportunities to let a lot of their players shine in the Europa League. And I think they could, push on. You see the transfer rumors with players like Kudus from Ajax. They really want to act like a big club. Their stance on the Moises Caicedo deal, I think Brighton recognized the position they're in to push forward into establishing themselves in the top 6. I think they'll fall just short, but they'll be in that conversation right till the end. I think they'll end up in 7th.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say this. I feel the same way. Like Brighton, Villa, it's definitely possible that 7th, 8th is on the cards for them. And same with your point about like the level of competition for the Conference League. But I do want to say I think West Ham won that competition last year, but they still finished like 15th, 16th.
That's true. Very true.
So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like level competition, sure, but I think Brighton have a better chance because their squad is much deeper than West Ham's was, just for that point. But yeah, moving on. So my 7th place pick is Liverpool. And I know that one might be like too low for them. Last year they were 5th? So yeah, a couple places of a drop. But I just feel like I don't like how their squad is built, and I don't think it is a Klopp type midfield. I've seen a lot of their preseason. I've seen them trying to do the inverted left back or inverted right back. I've seen them try to adapt with these. Their defense is pretty old, and the midfield is just too like attack oriented. Where yeah, if you want to like try and score like 6 goals a game to win, you'll concede 5. That might be a fair method, but I just don't see this squad particularly challenging for top 4. Maybe early on, but again, when their Europa schedule starts, do they have the defensive cover to keep them going? I don't know. So I put them at 7.
Yeah, I think Klopp's following that philosophy from that one Unai Emery quote. I don't know if you guys remember. He said, "I'd rather win 5-4 than 1-0." And I think
Yeah,
that's what a lot
exactly.
of their games will end up looking like this season. So that's definitely a good shout.
Yeah, I'm right on agreeing fully with Forrest. I have Liverpool in
Wow.
seventh as well.
Yeah.
I think they're maybe one injury away from crumbling, and if it's in their defense, they're definitely gonna crumble.
That's a
Yeah,
good point.
yeah, they're like added some midfield depth with McAllister, and they
So
have
was
some
life.
striking. I think Mo Salah is gonna be able to push his way through. I think he's gonna have a good season this year. He looks pretty pretty slick in the preseason games that he had. But I don't think it's gonna be enough to get him up there in the top four, top six positions. So, you know,
Yeah.
Klopp is kind of is in his eighth year now. So I really don't think he has much of the tricks up his sleeves, and they're gonna probably most likely be lower in the ranks.
Yeah, I think the injury point is a solid one, just because like they're so thin everywhere. And you mentioned Salah, and imagine if an injury happens to him, how far they could drop. And it's not like Salah's getting any younger. He's 31 this year,
Mm-hmm.
and beyond injuries, like at that point, fatigue becomes a very serious thing you have to consider. And with the Europa schedule, it could become pretty hard to manage for sure.
Yeah. I also have Liverpool at seventh. Not
Oh, dang,
because
that's surprising.
no,
Wow.
because their attack is pretty stacked, just remember last season they barely missed out on fourth place while having Diaz and Jota like missing almost the entire season, right?
That's true.
And they had like injuries all around. But this season, like they sold like all their defensive players in Fabinho and Henderson, and they really didn't get anyone who's like defensive minded. I don't think I've watched a lot of Soboslai or McAllister, but from what I read, it's not that that's the profile, the type of player they are. So unless so far, what's today? Thursday? No, Wednesday.
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 Yeah, it's Thursday here. They haven't signed a defensive midfielder, and they still have the same center backs that they had. They're only like without signing a defensive midfielder or like anyone who can do more defensive chores. I don't think Thiago is gonna be that guy for them. And
Mhm.
that what's his name? The young kid.
Curtis Jones.
Balsic.
Yes, that guy. Yeah, he's
Mhm.
pretty good, but like I think he's still injured. I'm pretty sure, or like he just came back from an injury. So
Mhm.
I don't think I think they still need like at least two signings, especially like with the center backs. They have like Van Dijk and Konate playing week in, week out. What's his
Yeah, no,
name?
they're definitely thin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my tip
Super
is
tough.
like, maybe towards the end of his career type of things. He's still solid, but then after that, they don't have anyone else. So yeah,
And I
and the
think another,
fullbacks, yeah, same thing.
yeah, that's probably why they push so hard for someone to play like left center back because again, they experimented with Trent like in midfield, and sure, it looked fun, but then it left like Van Dijk and Konate and Robertson on an island all the time, just
Yeah.
defending. And I think I don't know, it just doesn't seem like Klopp. Like I feel like either he's trying to get with the times or he doesn't have the resources, but either way, it doesn't feel like he has enough to push them to top four.
Right.
It
And
reminds me. Oh,
speaking
go for
of
it.
defensive midfielder coverage, we know that Liverpool's been on a pursuit for Romeo Lavia. David Ornstein just tweeted out
Oh
Southampton
shit.
have tonight received an offer from Chelsea for Lavia.
Wow.
Proposal
Oh,
48
what
million
the
euros with add-ons. Closest has come to Saints 50 million 50 mil evaluation to date.
no way. Dude,
So
my
So
source
so
just told me the same thing.
Yo, so
okay.
what does that now mean for Brighton?
Caicedo.
I think their case gets stronger because that probably means he's staying.
No,
Unless whoever that.
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I've been saying. I think Liverpool would go for Caicedo because they have the
Mm,
funds. The players that they
But then why
offloaded for
not
a
pay the
lot of
extra
money,
5 for Lavia?
because I
I
think
guess.
Caicedo is more of a player that they need, to be honest.
I agree with that too, but that's like a
Yeah.
50 million valuation
Mm.
change, versus the 5 they were haggling over.
Yeah, but if you
I
think
don't know.
about it, like Henderson was like to them in the books, like he's like $0, right? Like he can leave for free or whatever, like end of contract type of thing. And Fabinho is the same way. Like people were calling for him to leave like last season. So
And
for
it's
them
like
getting free money around like what, 60 million at least.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
it's just a cheap upgrade,
you got to also consider the caliber of player, right? Like Lavia has
He's
shown
not there
promise,
yet.
but I don't think he's ready to start week in, week out for a side that's trying to compete for top 4, let alone the title, like Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, look, if I'm trying to sell you a Toyota Camry for 25K and you're bidding 20K and you're having an issue paying the 5K, and then I bring out a Mercedes, you'll pay the 50K a lot easier. Even though it was a 5K difference you were worried about, you're getting
Yeah.
a significantly better player in Caicedo. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's definitely something to watch, and it's something that could affect the outcome of this. I'll transition us into my 6th place prediction. Nibs, I actually have Villa 2 spots higher than you did. I think Aston Villa will finish in 6th. I haven't watched any full games from their preseason, but I've watched all of their highlights, and they look very, very scary. And I'll give, I guess, 2 strong reasons. Their recruitment this summer has been close to perfect. I think they had a Champions League transfer window. You mentioned Diaby and Pau Torres. They also got Tielemans, which I think will be big for them. And the important thing I think that underlies all of this is they have Unai Emery coaching. I know his first stint in England has been under a lot of like scrutiny, but I think if he gets in a position at a club where he can get into a stride, which it seems he has in Villa based on the end of last season, he can really make something go bang. And we already know what Emery can do with strikers, and we're seeing that in Ollie Watkins already. I think they will have a super surprising year, be the dark horse in the Premier League, and end up in a Europa League spot.
That's a pretty good case. My 6th place choice is my own club, Chelsea. I think that is, just looking at from last year to this year, that's a 6th place jump, which is just kind of embarrassing to say. And it is asking a lot, but it shouldn't be, because how much funds this club has just poured into not finishing 6th, obviously finishing 1st. Expecting 6th from them is actually kind of embarrassing, but I think that's the furthest we can go with just how many new faces we have, how many different, we had 3 different managers last year, actually maybe 4. Having these guys just get 1 year under Poch, playing once a week, I think 6 is a fair goal. I know it should be expected more, but genuinely, like, again, if we're gonna be playing like Enzo and potentially Lavia and Mudryk and just all these guys that are like 21, 20 years old, I don't know if they have the experience to go further than that. I think with time, we'll definitely be a contending team. I'm not worried about that. But 6 seems like a fair place for them to finish, and a fair ask, honestly. You could definitely ask them for more considering what they put into this, but 6 is definitely a fair place for me personally. That's my shout.
Fair.
And again, I'm rocking with Forest on this one. I think Chelsea is gonna make it up there this year. I think they have some good players. The Jackson guy looks deadly. And unfortunately, they do. I honestly thought that maybe Poch can go higher, but with their injury issues and all these new faces, I think 6 is a solid, stable shout, and I think that'd be a great season for them regarding all these transfers. And who knows, maybe they'll buy more in the winter transfer season. So
probably.
Definitely. I think they'll pick up some random Brazilian kid for another 20 million.
I agree. And I think that's good for Chelsea, and I think they will end there.
Yeah.
All
For
right, Cease.
me, I feel like I want to change up my predictions because like it's kind of the same so far. But like I think Chelsea as well because I have Brighton above them. So yeah, for Chelsea, like they have their fullbacks, they're injury prone. Their center backs are injury prone, especially with the 38-year-old. Like he's like the main guy, but like you know,
Mhm.
relying on him to be healthy and fit is so much to ask for. Although like they're
It's
gonna
true.
play like once a week this season, so maybe he can avoid some of the injuries. But I think Chelsea has a good squad. Like Enzo, maybe an overpay, but like he's pretty solid. Like I rate him quite well, and bunch of the other new guys. Like I honestly can't name like any of the new
Yeah,
guys.
bro. Gun to
Dude,
my
me
head.
either, bro. Me
Yeah.
I
either.
have no idea.
Yeah, anyone they signed from this window, I have no idea who they are. But I think with Pochettino, maybe asking him to win the title is a little out of reach, and fourth place in the first season is going to be also very tough. But sixth
Frank
place,
did it.
huh?
Frank did it. Never forget that. Frank
Frank
Lampard
Lampard,
did that.
hell
Frank
yeah,
Lampard did finish fourth. Yeah, he did.
yeah, with the transfer ban, yeah, he really did.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Generation coach.
Yeah, we should bring him back, bro. Get him on the pod. Get him on the pod.
So you guys seem to have a consensus with Chelsea at 6. It's very, very interesting. I don't, to be honest. In 5th place, Aziz, I know this might upset you a little bit, but I have Newcastle. And
Ooh,
listen,
that's a shocker, mate. Bomba.
5th place in this next Premier League season is still a very good finish because in all likelihood, it will end up being a Champions League spot.
For the year after,
the-
yeah.
the Champions League is expanding in 24-25, and they're going to decide whether or not 5th place is a CL spot at the end of the season. But I did some research, and I think with the same criteria, the Prem would have qualified to have that 5th spot as a Champions League spot in 5 of the last 6 seasons. So, you can feel pretty confident betting that will end up a Champions League spot. I just think for Newcastle, managing European football and, fighting for the domestic cups, it's going to take a toll on them. I didn't think that they had the window they were expected to have. Some decent recruitment, but their really marquee signing was just a little bit underwhelming to me. I don't think Sandro Tonali is going to hit the ground running. Italians in the Prem don't really have a good track record. Italians anywhere except Italy don't really have a good track record. And especially with Tonali, you could see it in his body language. You could see it in his demeanor. I don't know if we're reading too much into it, but I just don't think that's what they needed. And not to say they'll have a terrible season. I think Eddie Howe's a great coach who's done great things with them already. But I just see them falling out of that top 4, and it's perfectly reasonable. But yeah, I have them 5th, and over to you, Nibs.
Pariah, go ahead and do your thing.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Okay.
My bad.
No, you're good. Just do a quick recap for myself. So I have Brighton, then Liverpool, then Chelsea. And my 5th place, which might be different from you guys, is Tottenham.
Oh
And I'm
man,
gonna kind of use the same argument that I've been using, and I whatever. They're also gonna be playing once a week. They didn't make any Europe. I think it's kind of reliant on Kane, which it's looking like he's gonna stay. But if Harry Kane stays, and they're playing a more attacking brand of football, and I do like what I've seen. If some of these new younger signings hit the ground running, I know they just signed 50 million euro center back I've never seen him play. I can't speak on him.
Can't defend.
I know Mickey can defend.
Yeah.
And I know they got Madison. Madison, who by the way is definitely a goal and assist magnet. You know, it might be in games
For sure.
which they lose, but he'll bag goals. I think fifth place is a fair place to put them. I don't think they went through the same dilemma as Chelsea at all. So I think they will be a little bit more comfortable at them. The bigger question I guess you could ask is, can they move away from, because they had what, Nuno, Mourinho, and Conte as their last three managers. That's terrorism. So to go from that to like possession based, positional play, all of this stuff, it might be too much to ask in 1 year. But I think fifth place is fair. So I'm gonna put Spurs at 5.
And again, I fully agree with Forrest.
You guys had to link up before this. There's no way.
I don't know, man. I also think, I mean, every year I kind of get, I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I kind of get scared about Spurs, but it ended up they always ball it. But I feel like this season, I feel like Harry Kane's definitely staying. And I think with Harry Kane there, and not this time fully settled, though, I'm not going no more anywhere. I think he's gonna again have a crazy season like last season, and with Kulusevski on his right, and now Son's still here on the left with Madison linking them up. I really think they're gonna be deadly up top, and hopefully they sort out in the back. And I think they can really go far. But and also as my Forrest mentioned, they don't have Europe. They can only focus on the Prem. And I think they will focus on Prem. I don't think they'll give too much to the FA Cup and the League Cup. I think they'll go straight for the Prem, and then they'll work on getting as high as possible. They will miss out on fourth, but I think they'll end up fifth. And just to recap my top, the bottom four that I did for the top 8 is Aston Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs. So me and Faris only differ in who's gonna finish 8th.
Yeah,
I have Villa, and he has Brighton.
Pretty good.
That's a good shout. Fair. I guess you're playing on the they don't have Europe, so like their schedule is freer. And historically it's been like you can see it, like for example, Chelsea's historic season under Conte, they didn't have Europe, and they just
exactly
broke records in the Prem. And Arsenal, when they didn't have Europe, they did really well in the league. So yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout. But for me, fifth place is gonna be Brighton. It's a well-established team. Their coach is crazy good. They have still the same players. They got really good signings. I don't know if Caicedo is gonna stay or leave, but they got what's his name, Joao Pedro in attack.
Oh, he's nasty.
They got a couple more signings. And the thing with Brighton signings, like, you don't know who they are. Like, they sign players and you have no idea who they are, but they turn out.
But they show
really
you
good.
who they are.
Exactly. Their recruitment is one of the best in the world. So I think they're gonna be able to do it, since they don't even have a Champions League. They, Europa League, Conference League, whatever. What are they at?
They're at Europa.
Europa.
They have Europa.
Yeah. I mean, it gets serious maybe later on. I don't know.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I think they will have a good rhythm going on to be able to get.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Brighton, man.
And on the whole Europe versus non-Europe thing, I'd say two things. I think having Europe causes a lot of damage to a team that's not used to it. But I think if you're a well-oiled machine with a lot of depth, I don't think Conference League or Europa League are that much of an obstacle to your league. You know what I mean? And as much as no Europe can be an advantage, we've seen it. I just think we're at a point now where these squads are generally pretty deep. These players are the most athletic they've ever been. They can honestly take on more games than historically players have been able to. So I don't know if we'll see that have as much of an impact. It'll definitely have an impact, but I think sometimes we overstate that.
We should have done. We're gonna go on a break and come back.
Yeah.
Intermission.
All right, welcome back after the break.
We're back, and we're ready to continue with the fourth spot. For me, I have Liverpool.
Ooh.
And let me give a very, very, very strong reasoning for this. This is less of a prediction and more of a demand. If Liverpool does not finish at least in fourth place this season, we need to have very serious conversations about Jurgen Klopp and his legacy. Because
That's crazy.
he's been at this club long enough to where this squad, this front office is in his mold. There's no more excuses of, oh, FSG isn't backing. You signed Szoboszlai for what was it, 60 million pounds. And I'm sure that decision isn't being made without Jurgen Klopp signing off, right? So if you have an ample transfer budget and you spend, let's just say, not in the most efficient way, and it leaves your squad with gaps that lead you to finish outside of the top four and succumbing to teams that are, you know, very unestablished, like your Villas, your Brightons, your Spurs, your Chelseas. If you somehow give way to those kinds of teams, we really need to question whether or not the dominance Liverpool had was just taking advantage of a weak league, or whether that was Jurgen's brilliance. You know what I mean? Because finishing outside the top four is something, you know, unestablished coaches with unestablished squads like Arteta would get absolutely destroyed for. If you're in your 8th year with a team with plenty of backing, with world-class players like Trent, Van Dijk, Salah starting for you, Alisson, the list goes on, and you're failing to finish above Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Spurs, Chelsea, you're not the coach we thought you were.
I'll just give a little bit on that. I think Klopp, you know, got a little bit of leeway because he won every single trophy that was available already, you know, in his Liverpool time. That's why, you know, the last couple of seasons we didn't really care too much that he kind of flopped. But yeah, you're right. He should be doing better, but I don't know, man. Like, I think if he leaves after this, he'll still be remembered as a good coach in the Premier League. He won everything, even with Man City being up there, you know, with Pep being there. It's quite an achievement, I think. But yeah, you're right. Maybe
Listen, bro, I agree he achieved, you know, one of everything, but if you're a Liverpool fan who, you know, arguably their best period in the modern era, definitely their best period in the modern era, and all you have to show for it is one of each trophy, when you genuinely had one of the best teams in the 2000s, I think not only is it disappointing, it must be frustrating to see how you've fallen without really losing too many big pieces. You've lost what? Mane, Henderson, and Fabinho. And those last two, we haven't even seen the effect of that yet.
Firmino.
And Firmino, sure. But and you already crumbled last season. And if you continue to crumble this season, it's like, I don't know. It's just like a shame for the squad that you had and the manager that you had. I just think Liverpool, it's far too soon to call that squad expired or past their prime. And they kind of started acting like that 2 seasons ago when it was less so the case. So I think it's really important for Klopp to make a stand and show that he isn't washed, because otherwise I'll be the first one to start that agenda on Twitter. Believe me.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, dude. I feel like there too many factors go into it other than just like what's expected. Like any type of, like what happened last year, someone was out for a long time. Like you said, some of their attackers are out.
Diaz and Jota.
I think Klopp still has credit in the bank to finish outside and be okay. I don't know. That's just
You think
personal
so?
opinion.
You think you could go 2 seasons back to back outside of top 4 finishes and still be okay.
Think
I
about it
think
this
I
way,
Just
right?
just
Like,
okay. I'm not saying. Yeah, go ahead, Aziz.
think about it this way, right? Like you agree that now the top four is very difficult compared to like 10 years ago, right? Like
I agree, 100%.
top seven now is top four 10 years ago, right?
Sure.
And like I know like you're gonna think like this is like me being defensive and whatnot, but like Arsene Wenger like finished fourth place every year, right? And he was still safe, right? And this is, I feel like this is the same type of level of competition. And Arsene Wenger was always like restricted by like financials, like, oh, we have to sign like young players, even if we spend like a little bit more for the younger players that we can sell later on. I think Klopp is having the same issue. All the players he's signing for like huge fees are on the 23-year-old like range, so they can like either sell them on like later on. And also like in terms of wages, like the wage structure in Liverpool is very low. So like he
I
like
know, bro, but listen, who are they competing with? Villa, who is not even close to the financial power that Liverpool are. Brighton, who
yeah.
are not even close.
See,
You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm asking them to finish above Man
yeah.
City,
No.
Man United.
I think Klopp like he's got blood on his hands for being too stubborn with the tactics,
Mhm.
right? And
And I'll
not
tell you
not
what. Listen, you made the Wenger comparison, and
Mm.
you're right. He did finish fourth consistently, third consistently in a weaker league, but he left the 1 year he failed to do so. Right when he finished sixth, that was
he
the
was gonna
year that
leave
Wenger
regardless.
left. But I genuinely don't think he was gonna leave if
Mhm.
we finished in a stronger position that year. I think he as stubborn as he was the kind of guy to say, "Hey, look, I've been able to give one thing, Champions League qualification to this club, regardless of anything, and when I fail to do that, the writing's on the wall." For Klopp, the writing has been on the wall for the last 2 seasons, and I think Liverpool fans owed him patience because of what he's achieved. They've
Mhm.
given him that patience. They've given him the transfer support this summer, right? It's time for him to repay that. And I'm not asking him to go win a trophy even. I'm asking you to finish in the top four. I'm asking you to finish above Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, Spurs, Chelsea. That's the ask. You know
I
what I mean?
think
And I
I
think
think I think he's gonna do the Europa League this year. I think he'll get them the trophy this year. And I mean it's hard, but I don't think he can get top four, you know?
that's
That
tough,
I just
man.
feel like the
All
teams
right.
right above fifth are just too good for him
yeah.
Yeah,
right now.
that's true. But it's just like one final note before we wrap up this Liverpool thing, is that like I feel like he came at a time where like he was so unfortunate with the
Mhm.
close finishes, right?
Right.
He
Oh, for
yes,
sure.
you said he won the Champions League once, the league once, right? But he lost the league twice by 1 point.
90 something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
and that
sure,
like
man.
no other
And he
team
made three
achieved
Champions
that.
League finals.
And he
Mhm.
made 3 Champions League finals. He lost to obviously Madrid, like, you know. So it was yeah, exactly. It's kind of impossible to beat them in the final. So like you know, like when they say second place is the first loser, I don't know. It's a little bit harsh on them because like they
Yeah.
really achieved something in those seasons. I don't know.
I think second place should get a trophy too, low key.
I
It's
agree.
too hard,
Hey, I
bro. It's
agree.
too hard.
I agree.
At this point, yeah.
Should just be a smaller Premier League trophy. I don't know. Let's get that going.
Yeah.
All right, Fires, you're up. You're up with fourth. Let's see.
Okay. Okay. I do have to ask you a question later, Ifty, because I've noticed you haven't mentioned a team yet, and I'm kind of scared. But let's say my fourth. So fourth, just as last season, I have Newcastle again, finishing fourth. I don't know. I agree with the points earlier about some of the signings they've made. I don't know if Tonali is going to be that guy. He doesn't seem like the other kind of players that Eddie Howe has signed, and maybe that's signaling that they're trying to transition to more possession style football. But I don't know if they can make that jump completely. Um, the style of football I still see from them is like that sort of heavy metal counterattack, run for days. You know, Anthony Gordon, Joe Linton, these guys who I don't really think are the best with the ball, and that's sort of a oversimplification. But I can't see them cracking Man City, and I can't see them cracking Arsenal just off of style of play. Newcastle right now seem like a lesser version of the squad that Man United's built. Just a lot of like physical profiles, people that can run for days, just lacking a bit in that technical area that has shown why Pep has won for so long. So but I think fourth is still doable. I mean, they can score goals for days. They have a strong starting 11, and I do like Alexander Isaac. I think he's a good striker for them. So yeah, playing fourth for them. Nothing. I don't know in Champions League 2. Do they have the squad for that? It's the same point, but I think fourth would be a good finish for them. Consistency there. So that's my team.
I'll add two things. I'll add two things to that. And I completely respect you putting them at fourth. I think it's possible. I think two other things to consider when we're looking at Newcastle this season is how the Premier League's changed the added time rule. I think Newcastle will be the team that gets hurt the most by that. You're spot on in saying they play like heavy metal football that relies on them being 120 miles per hour for the 50 minutes they play. Now, I think you're going to be playing a lot longer minutes, and whether or not that's sustainable is going to come into question. The other thing, you mentioned their, lower technical floor. They lost one of their best technicians in St. Maximin, and they haven't really replaced him that well. So that's going to be something interesting to watch.
I do like Anthony Gordon. Surprisingly, when Chelsea played Newcastle in preseason, that was just the one look I got at Newcastle. But Anthony Gordon looked pretty capable playing as a winger, and I think they just need someone who can retain the ball. And I think even St. Maximin was a little bit not the best for that because he would just directly attack, and that could lead to a lot of loss of possession. But Anthony Gordon kind of has a nice skill to him of just being able to hold the ball in the final third, which I hope he plays more. But yeah, I don't know if they can go beyond that.
Fair.
All right, massive Bob coming in. I think I have Brighton in fourth, but I'm just gonna say I don't have Newcastle anywhere in my top 8.
Oh, get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Wow.
This is how we get dislikes.
No, I got
we're gonna get bad.
I got Arsenal.
You don't have Newcastle, and he doesn't have a certain team. This is crazy.
I really think like the way Newcastle was building like last year after this takeover seemed reasonable. I think this was the summer that they really had to go in and kind of make some marquee signings. And their signings, I wouldn't say they really improved their squad, like at all. And I think like, their players, they don't really excite me that much. All of them are really bland, I would say. And, last season, I really think that they got really, really lucky in some of the games. And most of the other teams were struggling, like Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea. They were really off of their pace, and I think that made a really good spot for them to kind of. And then they took full opportunity. And Eddie Howe, being a good coach, he drilled certain things into them, and then they were able to pull it off. But I really think this year, I hope that they had made the signings to make, the league, I guess, a little more competitive than it already is. But I really think they will fall off, and I think Brighton is going to capitalize on that. They're keeping Caicedo, and I think the way they play, it really reminds me of Arsenal and Man City. I think they're that team that even without the strong funds and even without capability of bringing like crazy well-known world-class players, they're able to scout some good players, and I think they will make that stride and get up there this season.
And so you would put Newcastle at 9?
I have Newcastle at 9, yes.
Wow, dude.
That's
crazy. Interesting. Yeah.
Look, De Zerbi just...
Let's just pull the receipts out.
Yeah, do your thing.
I have fun, bro.
Yeah. No, I have Newcastle at fourth, because like maybe, as you said, they don't have the more exciting players, especially when they lost St. Maximin, right? But still, like, their players are really good, and defense wins you games, wins you championships, whatever. No, but like, if you think about it, like, they were the second best defense in the league last season, right? And they were like, okay, we're solid on defense. Let's just go and invest up front, and they got Gordon in the winter window, and they got what's his name? They got Barnes, right? Barnes is a very good finisher. A very, very
Barnes is
good.
going to score 3 goals against Brentford, and everyone's going to be like, "Wow, what a signing!"
Yeah. Right. So
I don't
like,
know.
so and then Tonali, as you said, like Italians in the Prem, especially up north, like it's really dark and rainy. I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm not very optimistic about that, but you want a dog that like goes and pressures and tackles people, and that just fits the rotation of like the Bruno and the Joelintons and the others. So I think it's pretty decent signing. The fee is a little inflated, but whatever. I think we're lacking on center backs, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, shout out Italians for just operating off pure vibes. They're like plants. No
Yeah.
sun.
Dude, I like
no.
how he just totally just made Tonali like this depressive, like emo guy that like can't play football
Dude,
now.
look at his
Just off of
hair.
like 2 Twitter
Look at his
videos.
announcement videos, man. He looks
Bro,
I know, I'm
depressed
just saying.
out.
He hates his life, man. Like,
Look
Yeah,
at
he's
his
getting
hair.
loaned
It
back in
looks like
January.
it looks like those TikTok kids that like sing rock songs.
Yeah, okay, bro. Okay.
it's not a phase.
He's the with his hair like that,
Okay.
like yeah. But
Okay, in third place, I thought this was going to be a bold take, but I'm assuming everyone else has this team at third. And I
United.
have Man United.
Yeah.
And before sitting down and making my list, I was kind of like looking around of what was like out there in terms of what people thought. Most people are really disrespecting United. They have them either fourth or below. And I genuinely think they have a top 3 squad in the Prem. I think the gap between them and City and Arsenal is still pretty significant, but I see them as the best of the rest. Ten
I saw
Hag
what
has
you
made
did
some
there.
pretty
City and Arsenal,
yeah
putting them together.
yeah
Okay,
yeah yeah. It's branding. It's PR. What's it called? I think Ten Hag has made quietly some really smart moves. Even though there's misses in there like Anthony, I think watching them in preseason, the main difference I see, and it's something I think we underrate a lot as football fans, is just like crispness and passing. The way they move the ball, and I could tell you this from experience, watching Arsenal when we were finishing 8th and 6th, there'd just be bobbles, bad first touches, just things that really make the speed at which you could progress the ball really, really slow for no reason. And then watching how we pass the ball now, watching how United pass the ball now, it's just so crisp, like, and everyone's on the same page. They know where to position themselves when they're pressing. They know their press triggers. They know exactly what they're doing. I think Ten Hag was given the time he needed, and I think he got them to a place where maybe it won't be this season, but next season I can see them challenging, and this season I think they'll definitely solidify themselves at third.
Yeah, I have them at third as well, but maybe I'm not as impressed with them as you are. I just feel like also we were like sold a dream on what Ten Hag was before he came to England. Like I think a lot of people thought he was going to be like Pep, and he just ended up being more like Klopp, and you can kind of see that with the signings he's made. Like I've seen them like do the build up play and try to play like Ajax, and it just doesn't seem like it works with these guys. Specifically, a midfield of Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount does not seem like it can do positional play at all, which makes me wonder like, oh, they're just going to try and be more focused on transition, counterattack, whatever, however you want to call it, which again is just sort of akin to what Ole would do to a certain extent. They just have much better players doing that. But that is probably going to be what hinders them from cracking the next tier of football. Like right now, they're that second tier. They're going to score goals. They're going to be good, but to win, I don't know if they have the right people to create chances. I will be really interested to see how Casemiro, Bruno, Mount, play against deep blocks and position themselves, because I am skeptical of that midfield. But other than that, like, yeah, they just feel like such a lock for third place, regardless of whatever the other 19 I have. I feel like they are 100% going to finish third. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, there's not much to add. I feel like with the couple of new signings they got, this striker guy, I don't know what's the story with his injuries, but looked at some
Oh,
of
I
his
forgot about
clips.
him.
He seems the type that can like burst through the defensive lines and kind of, get the finish in. But I feel like he will be very dependent on Bruno, and I don't know. I always feel like this season's particularly, I feel like Bruno is gonna go bang again, and I feel like if he
Yeah.
has those runners, just like, and I saw the preseason game with us. They just seem like they're bombing balls forward whenever
Yeah.
they get the chance, and they're just making sure they finish. And this kid looks pretty good, and as long as Bruno is supplying him, I think he's gonna have a lot of goals in him. And
And
yeah,
I
it
think
seems
he'll make Rashford's life easier too, because he
yeah
seems like I didn't even know he was like 6'4". Like,
yeah
seems someone that can hold the ball up, can run channels. I think if he draws just a little bit of attention and you have
yes,
Rashford in behind, like,
yeah.
yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be good.
I think they'll do pretty good, and I think it's very dependent on how the midfield plays, and hopefully, like
Mhm.
defensively, it looks a little shaky to me, specifically because I feel like most of the work will fall on Casemiro, and he's just getting older by the day, and I feel like he might crack at a point. With this rash tackling, they might crumble,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's either or for me. This third place, that's what I put them, but I can see them crumbling down all the way down, and maybe other teams can replace them, but I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also have them as third place. I mean, I feel like they have ways to go to catch up to first place, maybe second place too. But with their reinforcements, I think it's been pretty good. Like they've been having a serious problem in the back with De Gea, right? He got the Golden
Mhm.
Glove, but he had so many errors leading to goals. He can't build up from the back. He can't play with his feet. He stuck to his line. So I feel like he was a main issue, and they are gonna concede way less goals this season
Mhm.
with Onana. Although Onana has his bozo moments too.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think United fans are getting a little carried away. I think this guy Onana will be a better keeper than De Gea, but I think with you know how intentional he is with his passing, I think he might get them in trouble a lot more times than De Gea did.
hmm,
To be
yeah, I don't know.
honest.
We'll
Yeah,
see. But
I could see that.
I feel like the Premier League and the coaches will keep him grounded more. Like they'll make him more mature, I feel. But another thing is like this Maguire guy, if he's leaving, like because like any injury he's playing again, right? But like if
Yeah.
That's
he's
true.
leaving, they're getting someone else in his place that can like at least like pass the ball. So I feel like building up from the back and being in control of games is like gonna be very different. United is a
Also,
good team.
I don't know if you guys saw the statement Varane dropped.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Um,
it's a good statement.
did you
I
guys
like it.
see? I think that's a sign of a player who came to United to retire. He said
What did he say?
he
It's-
said, "Big man, I'm not playing more than 90 minutes." He said, "Cut out all
Damn.
this." The statement basically goes, "Listen, for years, players have been alerting, the people that run the game that hey, we're playing too
Oh
much.
yeah, I did see
It's not
that.
healthy, and that this new rule by the Prem is counterintuitive to that, which is true. But I don't know if our starting center back dropped a message like that, I personally would be kind of concerned. Also, just want to bring attention to how Casemiro came back. My brother looks like he can work at an India bazaar behind the counter. Like I think it might truly be over for him. So I've already seen a couple United fans on Twitter turning on him for lapses in pressing, other things like that. But I'll move on. I think for second place, I think we should all say it together. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Or should we go one by one?
I'm fine with that, dude. I'm fine with that.
I think it's gonna
Okay.
be resounding one team. So yeah, we should go for together.
Okay.
Dude, I
Three.
hate saying this in front of you guys, dude.
All right. 3.
No. Hold on,
two.
hold on. Instead of saying second place, I think we should say first place.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate you guys.
All right.
Okay. In first place, in 3, 2, 1.
Man City.
Arsenal.
So no.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
We got a hater.
Okay.
Listen, it's,
okay.
let me take this one. Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, you go first,
obviously,
and we'll respond.
obviously, like every year, it's City's league to lose, right? It's City's league to lose. It doesn't matter. Like they have players that leave, new players that come in. It's still like City's City. Like even like with like some seasons that like they dip in their performance, they're still City. I don't know. It's very hard to, and also they have the experience to play 38 games at the top level, and their mental game is very strong. Like we saw Arsenal last season. I know this hurts to bring it back again, but like we saw them crumble like under pressure, like at some games, like the Southampton game, there's like a string of 3 games that just lost them the league, See, it would never happen to City. So I think like it's City's league to lose, but Arsenal is like, they were like up here,
The closest they've ever been.
Yeah, they made the right signings all over the pitch, and they have 2 11-man squads. Even the goalkeeper, very strong. So I don't know. It's going to be a very exciting season.
I wanted to I would say that too, but I don't know. This year, like even last year, I think I still said City, even though I felt the similar sentiment. But this year, it just feels like it's going to be that year. You take that step. They've lost a lot of their main, like I just think even replacing Gundogan with Kovacic is like a sign of the times that this sport is going to end very soon, because or at least their reign of terror, because that just doesn't seem like the right kind of move. And then they've spent so much focus on just having 4 center backs and like 3 DMs, and they might not concede a goal, but they're going to be taking away some of the stuff that helped them win these games, like a player of Gundogan's quality. Or I know they're keeping Kyle Walker now, but I don't know. I think this is it. Like Arsenal, they're going to do it, and it's going to be pretty exciting. But yeah, like you can't. It's just a prediction. Like I know it could come down to the last game. Like last time, it came down to like April May-ish time. But yeah, I don't know. It's a toss up.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll give my reasoning. So I want to base this in fact. So
okay,
I have.
Guess
he brought the
just
fact
stats.
sheet. He brought the fact sheet.
Numbers.
I have last year's transfer window for Man City pulled up, and I have this year's so far, right? So last year, notable departures. Raheem Sterling to Chelsea. Sorry.
Chelsea.
Jesus and Zinchenko to Arsenal. And beyond that, no one sold for above 10. The other player they sold that people might know is Pedro Porro to Sporting for 8.7. He wasn't a starting squad player, right? Who they acquired?
They acquired Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips, Manuel Akanji, and most importantly, Erling Haaland. I think last year was supposed to be the year City walked the league. But even still, it came down to April, right? And we probably should have won, right? Like us losing the league was our fault more than like Man City's credit. You know what I mean? This season, let's look at what's happened. They sold Riyad Mahrez. They've lost Gundogan. And the only notable additions so far are Gvardiol and Kovacic, right? City's defense, I'm never going to attack. Those guys are solid, right? So adding Gvardiol is like it's like it
It's
moves the
unnecessary, bro.
needle. It doesn't really move the needle for them, right? But I think losing Gundogan and losing Riyad Mahrez significantly move the needle backwards in offense. Like I think a lot of the times when a team is playing City, it's a mental test as much as it is a physical test, right? Because you know in the back of your mind you defend offense of De Bruyne, Grealish, Haaland for 60 minutes, and then you look at the sideline and you have Mahrez and Gundogan warming up, right? It's a war of attrition. Even if you think you have them, Pep changes a couple things and you're playing an entirely different team with fresh legs, fresh ideas, right? I think when you lose those two players, you lose not only their output, but you lose your flexibility as a team. So now when you're playing City, you don't need plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. You just need to be able to withstand, I guess, the first attack, right? I think that's going to be a game changer for them. The other thing I'll say is what happens with this Paqueta deal with West Ham really kind of affects my prediction, because I think if you get Paqueta back in, you add I would see him as a kind of 2-for-1 replacement in Gundogan and Mahrez. Obviously, he's not bringing the winning experience, the leadership that Gundogan has, or like the crazy technical ability, but he gives you another option on offense, right? Even still, I'd put Arsenal above just because where all of our players are a year older, a year better. Our coach is a year older, a year better, right? They've all been in a title challenge, right? They all know what it feels like now, right? And City are a year more complacent, and they've only weakened in the transfer window, right? All those things I think kind of shift, I guess, the probability to our side. You could argue that maybe since to a lot of people we're favorites this year, that could add a level of mental pressure that this Arsenal side has shown time and time again it can't handle. So maybe that becomes a problem. But I seriously think if it's going to be any year, it's this year.
Yeah, I think you guys pointed out a lot of weaknesses in Man City side already. I'll just point out this one thing. Pep loves to get rid of people that feel like that he thinks are like
Are not committed
maybe
100%.
not committed 100% and done with winning, because Pep knows that you got to change it around. I'm not really too worried about getting rid of Mahrez and Gundogan. I'm more worried about who's gonna replace them, because I don't know what Foden's been cooking in the back out of this new guy, and he's gonna bring in players from his wherever he has that knows how to win, and he's gonna, speaking like the game that we watched, Community Shield, even though it's just a friendly, glorified friendly or whatever, technical ability wise, I still see every single of City players, even the substitutes that were like probably 18, 16, 17, levels above some of the starters that we have. And that's a scary thought, but
Wait, can I just cut you off? Did you say Arsenal won or City won?
City.
You said City won first place.
No, I said Arsenal first.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But I'm saying it looks
he's doing a hezzy.
Yeah,
okay. I got you.
Still looks really scary because technically, they're much better. Their passes are swifter, their touches are better. Their pressure play, like getting like going against the press play that we had on them, seemed very easy for them still, even with all these technical players that you guys think are left. But I just feel like 4 times in a row, Pep becomes almost impossible. And these things happen, but I want to focus on Arsenal a little bit. I just feel like this squad, it's a squad that you dream of. And the additions that he did with Declan Rice, Timber looks unstoppable. I don't think there's a there's a right back or a left back or a right wing or left wing that can catch him or do anything to him. Declan Rice, hopefully he gels quickly and stems into our team. And I really, really feel like Odegaard is going to have the season of his life. And with him constructing everything, I feel like our attackers will. Martinelli a year older, like you said, FT. Saka a year older. And hopefully Jesus comes back with this injury. But Nketiah holds strong. I just
No way, you
feel
just
like
ignored Havertz.
Havertz, I still don't know. I still don't know where he's gonna play. With Jesus back, I still don't know if he's gonna be a left center mid or he's gonna, sub in every now and then striker. I feel like Arteta has plans to go strong in all competitions, and I think he will with this strong squad. I just hope we bring the Prem home by the end of the season.
Dude,
We'll go for it.
Yeah. There's just it's so weird. Like I even said Arsenal, but like after hearing the points, like the only points that City have going against them, they're not even like, I don't know, like footballing thing. It's just like, oh, it just doesn't seem like they could do 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like but like Aziz is right, man. Like it just feels weird betting against them until they've set a precedent of they're gonna fall off. Because even they start every year, like they lose a couple games or they drop some points, and then they just win 20 in a row.
Right.
And like I still am gonna put Arsenal just out of just wild card prediction, sure. But like if City win, like no one's gonna be surprised, right?
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna say like
I agree.
Honestly, I am gonna be surprised. This is the season. I really feel like if City does it, like hands off Pep Guardiola,
greatest ever, dude.
Greatest ever, GOAT ever. I really think this is the season. I will be surprised if City wins it again. I really think so, because I just don't know. Like this is like as weakest as they could be with having.
It doesn't even feel like that they're weaker.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a strong squad. We're just comparing it to like the teams that have scored like 100 plus goals and all that.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
The thing is, like the way City started the season last season, right? They didn't start very well, and then Pep changed the system.
Yeah,
and then with the new system, they went undefeated for like 7,000 games, right? It's only him. Only him. Only he can do that. So with this new system, I don't know. Like you're saying, playing Stones in the midfield, maybe you don't even need Gundogan that much, you know? Like
but listen. Okay, let's talk about Gundogan for a second. I think, sure, maybe some people are overplaying his absence, but I think you guys are underplaying it. This guy is their cult hero. He is LeBron James for them. He is Mr. Clutch. When they need a goal and there's no way to get it, he gets it for them. Like I think he was a leader in that dressing room. I think on top of that, look, Liverpool got these leader dudes in Henderson or whatever, the other team that are just bozos, right? This is a leader that can hoop to the highest level. You know what I mean? In that final stretch of 12 games where they didn't lose, I can remember 5 or 6 times where he was the difference, right?
Yeah.
And beyond that, I know we talked a lot about how City's weaker, and that's why we have Arsenal ahead. Nibs, you did good bringing attention to, like, let's talk about Arsenal for a second, right? I don't think we're running away with the league, right? I think this is one of those situations where, like last year, we'll go neck and neck. I don't think like last year we're going to hold the lead for 280 something days. I think it'll fluctuate, right? But I think at the very end, we'll run away with it in May, because last year, I think our biggest weakness was towards the end of the year, we didn't have a plan B. We became far too predictable. I see our fans on Twitter talking about, that one lineup that used to play in those black kits, right? That everyone has a video of. That lineup was ridiculous, but every team in April knew how to play against it, right? And we couldn't even field that team in April because one piece is missing and we have to slot in a bozo like Rob Holding, or not to call them bozos, but like players that aren't really adequate, right? Now, I feel super comfortable with any injury in any position, even including Saka or Odegaard or Martinelli. You know what I mean? I have a great sense of comfort. When I saw that Orange notification that Gabriel Jesus is out for 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Last year I would have been on my knees screaming like, why, right? This year I'm like, okay, it just means Arteta could try 6 different things, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's really like list it out, right? Everyone knows Ramsdale, Raya, right? But center back depth, we have Gabriel Saliba starting, which I think is one of the probably the best pair, if not the second best pair in the league, right?
Benny
Behind
Blanco.
them, you have Benny Blanco, who starts at right back, can do a job at right center back, and he did so. You know, that year we were challenging for Champions League. I think Kivior has really shown what he's about at the end of last season. I'm glad Arteta took that time when the league was all but over to test him out, see what he was all about. I think he's proven himself. At left back, we have Zinchenko, Tierney, Tomiyasu, who could play there, Timber, who's shown he could play there. And at right back, I don't even have to talk about that. We're like far too stacked there. At DM, we have Partey, Jorginho, Rice that could do a trick. At the left 8, you have Havertz, Smith Rowe,
And Nene.
Rice. And then he's there for vibes, really.
For the Quran
Yeah, he's there for feeding,
I think he's like an Emirates spokesperson.
Yeah, I don't know. I like him though. He's great. At the right 8, I agree. There's a little bit of a drop off if Odegaard goes, but I really do think Smith Rowe will have a breakout season, and Vieira's there as well. On right wing, you have Saka, of course, right? But behind him, Jesus has shown he could do a job there. Vieira has shown that he could not be a detriment there. At striker, you have Jesus, Trossard, and Havertz. On the left side, you have Nelly and Havertz, and I didn't even Nelly and Trossard. I didn't even mention Reece Nelson or any of the academy kids that could come in and do a job. I think last season we fizzled out. This season we have what it takes to go all the way, and if we don't, it becomes, for me, less of a conversation of, oh, Pep's the GOAT, and more of a conversation of like, what went wrong with us. I think at that point we could start pointing fingers. This is the season we could actually have expectations. Last year I maintained the whole time that, hey, we're ahead of schedule. We're playing with house money, right? This season, there's an expectation for me where if we don't hit, I'll genuinely be like, okay, like what can we really fix? We're not the City team that can spend and spend and spend forever, right? Like,
You gotta get
we've
returns.
spent a lot, but it's time for a return on investment.
I feel like City haven't even had that like spending a lot name for a few years now.
For sure, yeah.
It's been like 5 or 6 years where they've spent more than 250, which is what I guess you guys are now spending for the first time in like the past this year and last year.
But their wage bill
yeah.
is the highest in the Prem.
I guess.
Yeah, and let's not even-
if we get into that stuff, like we're not really talking about the football.
They really go out each season and they grab one of the biggest players out there, like
Yeah.
Grealish,
Gvardiol,
Haaland,
Grealish,
Gvardiol.
Haaland.
Like those are the last 3 seasons. Like, you know, they I guess they almost function
when they're
like
not
Bayern Munich.
necessary. When they're
Yeah.
not even necessary.
But
You
the
know what I mean?
season
Like,
after, they become necessary.
Yeah,
I don't think next season,
I like how they play.
for example, I don't think next season, for example, we'll have a marquee signing. I don't think so. Unless it's right wing. And I don't see that many more huge signings in our near future.
I think that's because we have good foundation. All our players are young. We don't really
For
need
sure.
to. We just need to find the right backups, and I think, you know, I think this season is pretty big for Arsenal. Like some things need to happen. You know, I don't know where we right exactly. I don't know what we can fix after this.
Maybe like
I think I think you guys have to
quarterfinal
do it. Yeah.
It has, look, if it's not Prem, and I don't even want to bring that possibility up, but if it's not Prem, it needs to be a trophy of
Big
some
one.
kind.
Of Champions League or FA Cup.
And I'm curious to see
FA Cup is
how...
not.
No, look,
Like, FA Cup is nothing.
I'll take it, bro. If we finish second and we get an FA Cup, I can't be like Arteta is a failure. You know, I can't do that.
how about
That's not a
EFL
good
Cup?
year, dude.
What are you
Yeah,
thinking?
second.
You have to win the league or Champions League? What are you thinking then?
I mean, I'm saying Arsenal is going to finish first. I'm just saying, would you be satisfied with second in an FA Cup trophy?
I
after what
wouldn't be
you built up
happy,
to?
but I would be satisfied. I wouldn't
I would be
happy,
like-
but
Because look at the other way. If let's say we finish like third and don't win any trophies, I think things need to
That's
that
worse. I know.
that's like kind of like not
So
acceptable.
that's worse. Yeah, I agree, man.
Almost
No.
not acceptable.
How
Yeah,
about the EFL
that's
Cup,
fair.
Carabao Cup?
Hell nah, bro. What's wrong
That
with you?
don't count, bro.
That's a
I don't even
chore.
want that shit, bro. I'd rather finish 12th again.
No, but genuinely, also, like, not to kind of snitch on ourselves, we don't know how to behave with this kind of squad. Like, I don't know what it feels like to demand a title. I've never
Yeah.
done that in my life. You know what I mean? Like, this is new territory, bro. Like, yeah, like on paper we should be, but I never saw myself as the kind of guy that could not win a Prem or UCL and be mad about it. You know what I mean? Like,
There you
I
go.
don't know. Okay, I think that was. I think let's do our summaries, right? 8-1, and then we'll discuss omissions because I know that there is one. Uh,
We
I'll
don't
let
have to discuss
Aziz.
omissions, dude.
We'll do it backwards. Aziz, you start. Nibs, the Pariah and me.
I got City, Arsenal, United, um, Newcastle, Brighton, uh, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs.
I got Arsenal, City, United, Brighton, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Villa.
Yeah, that's so crazy, bro. No Newcastle. Okay, top to bottom, I got Arsenal, City, United, Newcastle, and then Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton, 1 through 8.
Okay, I got Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Spurs, and I got Chelsea just outside of that.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Honestly, I didn't even do it as like a gotcha Forest thing. Like I honestly felt bad writing it, but like, dude, I just don't see. Okay, there's two teams in my list that I'm not the most confident about. It kind of feels like an elephant on a tree branch. That for me is Liverpool at fourth and Newcastle at fifth. I already told y'all my Liverpool thing is more like a demand and a prediction. And I don't know about Newcastle. It's like such a wild card. But Chelsea for me is even more of a wild card. Like, bro, there's something to be said about like things take time. I'm the first person to be like, yo, trust the process, right? I trust that process. I just don't think it's gonna be giving immediate
This
returns
year.
in the slightest, right? Like you have a squad full of players that aren't older than 24. You have one dude that's so old he might not make it through the season, right? And you have a coach that's shown to fall short consistently. You know what I mean? He did great things with that Spurs squad. You know why I say that? The Spurs thing, like whatever, it's Spurs, right? Like you lost the Champions League final, you bottled the title in 15-16. I'm not holding you for that single-handedly because that team was full of losers, right? The thing I look at is that PSG stint. The war crimes he committed with Messi, they need to be spoken about. A guy at times
he won a league title, dude.
Bro, but he lost the League Cup in the final.
I don't know, dude.
With that squad.
The PSG is like a black hole. Like I don't trust any of the managers that go there. I don't like look at that stint to be like what kind of manager we're getting.
Bro, let me tell you as someone who got a PSG manager, Unai Emery, brother, like you got to read the facts because sometimes they do translate. And I'll also say this: you have all these players who don't know each other, bro. Like, watch Declan Rice's debut for us. I'll be the first one to admit it wasn't the greatest thing ever because he's never played with those brothers in his life. He doesn't know who's gonna be where, right? And you could talk to me about preseason and working things out on the training pitch. You need game experience to figure some of these things out. You know what I mean? And I think you'll learn throughout the season. I think you'll get better throughout the season. I really do think it'll be a rough start for you, especially with this Nkunku news. I really like Nicholas Jackson. I think he's a good player. I think Mudryk will have a much better year than last year. I think Enzo will continue to do what he's been doing. I don't think you're screwed in the slightest. I just think every other team I've named, Spurs, Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, Liverpool, United City, Arsenal, are in a better position today for the Premier League than you are.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't agree at all, though. I think sixth place is where we're going to be.
Fair.
I can't see like another year like this. I don't know. I just never seen it before. I've seen Chelsea have bad years and then bounce right back immediately. But it's true. Everything at the club has changed. We have gotten rid of every single player. We're still trying to bring in so many players. We're probably going to spend $1 billion already under Boli. It's not at all anywhere near an ideal project. Project is also like an overstatement. Like this is like it's a mess, right? But just off of the small sample size I've seen and the players that we have, individual quality plus just having a foundation under Poch, I think that'll be enough to get us sixth, genuinely. And that's if that's it is tough. It is a wild card, but I don't see anything higher. And I don't know if seventh, eighth,
Okay.
like that'd be bad.
Let's also talk about though. You lost Mount, right? You lost Havertz, whatever. You lost Mount, and I think a lot of your good games last year. I know Mount's not the most consistent. I'm his biggest hater. Let me be the first to say, right? But I think a lot of your good moments last year are a direct result of when he plays well, right? Like
That's fine. I mean, I watched all those games. I've seen him in the good games and I've seen him in the bad games, and I know his limitations as well. And I don't think he himself caused a win or he himself caused a loss. He was just
okay. I'll ask you.
Go ahead.
I'll ask you a different question. Can you tell me your starting 11? Do you have a no
For Liverpool? Sure.
Yeah, for Liverpool. Yes.
For Liverpool, I know we have a lot of potential incomings and outgoings, but as of right now, Kepa would be in goal.
Okay.
Reece James, who's healthy, will play right back.
But he's
Two
not.
center backs will be. He is healthy.
He's healthy, I think.
He's healthy again.
He played in preseason. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Reece James. The two center backs will most likely be Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill, who yes, we just got back from loan, who just signed a new 6-year deal. And then left back will either be between Chilwell or Cucurella, which I don't really like either of those playing, but that's just out of experience they're going to play, I feel like. Midfield, and this is just today, like Enzo and probably Gallagher, which is not at all what I would want. But let's see what happens with Lavia, Caicedo. Let's see what happens. Going forward is probably a bit harder, but I put Sterling right wing, and now Mudryk is definitely starting left wing with Noah Nkunku, and Jackson as the striker. So my only hole would be who we play at the 10. That would be the only one where I don't know.
And who are the candidates there?
Let's see. If there's no Nkunku and there's no,
There was a guy.
I don't know.
There's
Ian
new
Maatsen?
guy.
Yeah, Matson, or however you say his
Maatsen,
name.
I don't know. Maatsen, it's crazy. He played left back all last year, and then this whole preseason he played attack.
Really?
I don't know what
Wow.
that means. It's so random.
But okay, what I asked that question to highlight is like, you don't know. And I'm sure Poch does not know with 100% confidence which lineup is his best lineup. And
I think he does. I think he said after our last like preseason game, like this is the team I want to play for against Liverpool. And yeah, we lost on Nkunku, but like besides who's playing at the 10, I feel pretty confident that's going to be the team. I know they don't have experience, but I think we'll do fine against them. Honestly, I don't think we're going to get blown out, but I don't think it's a for sure win. I think it'll be a fun game. Honestly, I think it'll be pretty equal. That's
Fair
my
enough.
guess. It's a
Wait,
bit biased, I know.
why
but
would
putting them at
Colwill
9 versus
start?
6?
Why would
Has he
Colwill
played
start
any of the preseason
over
games?
Betty Shield
Body Shield
Shield
just
is good.
returned to training today.
from injury?
Yeah.
I
Just
also think
returned-
regardless of who you sign, like if you sign someone tomorrow, they're not starting against Liverpool. I think that's
Yeah.
That's true. That's
too
true.
quick. Too
Well,
quick.
but I
of a
think-
turnaround.
Who's been
Whoever
playing
comes
left
in-
center? Who's been playing left center back in preseason?
It's been Cole.
Oh, it has been. Okay.
Yeah. Cole
Nice.
played, and then some academy kids that we brought just for the tour played.
And
But the
Fofana's
team he
dead?
started. Yeah,
Fofana's gone.
I feel so bad, bro, but he's finished.
I think his career is wrapped, to be honest. Like saved me twice, bro. I don't know if you're coming back for that.
Well, his
Um,
first injury was like a clean leg break, right? Like that's not like a recurring thing, right?
Yeah, but you also like physically you don't come back the same, and mentally you don't come back the same. For a center back, like I think the most important thing is to be able to go into a challenge like fearless. If your leg has broken, there's like a mental wall there. Like I don't want to put my leg near anything.
But he came back last year from, I mean, that leg break happened when he was at Leicester. So he played
Yeah.
majority of last year off of that. And I think he was honestly good. Price tag aside, I think he was very good there. And he did get hurt again. And it does suck. But like I know we signed some guy from Monaco. We have too many players. Give it like
You signed
Diasasi
Alex
or
Disasi. Yeah.
yeah.
Disasi, I think.
I think the first 5 or 6 games will be pretty clear on who's going to play. And we're going to have a lot more outgoings for sure.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
So now let's talk about our bottom three. I think we'll have a lot of agreement here. I have one little weird one, but okay, let's start with 20th. I got Luton. Forrest?
I got Luton. Like I would put my entire life on Luton going down. 20.
Yeah, that's a good bet. That's a good bet.
That's a good bet.
Debs?
Same.
Same.
Aziz?
I don't.
right.
Yeah, I don't think I know a single player. What's his name?
Ross Barkley.
Ross Barkley just signed.
Ross Barkley, dude.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah. I think they'll have like a fun little story to tell, like all their players, right? It's
That
cute.
first away game, Chelsea have to go to Luton Town. Oh my goodness! I hope they put 8 on their head, dude.
It's gonna be vibes
Dude.
though. Like the state, it's cute, man.
I'm
But
going
it's
to
just not
England.
sustainable.
I'm going to England in September, like end of September. Me and my friends were like joking about like, let's go to a Luton home game. You know,
That would be
like-
sick, dude. That'd be sick. Or someone probably lives like upstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. You got to go through people's backyards, man. Like it's a
That's
crazy
crazy.
stadium.
yeah, it's insane.
But yeah, I think their focus should be like, hey, let's build a squad that can go and win the championship next year, so we can come back and try again. I think that should be the mentality. Like use this year as a training session.
Like, hoard the
I think-
money and hoard the parachute payments.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, at 19th, I got Sheffield United.
Same.
I put same thing. Sheffield United 19.
Aziz?
Who was the bottom last season? It was like it was
They'd be
Everton,
gone,
there,
bro.
Bournemouth. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Bournemouth
I don't know.
left,
Yeah, I
Leicester
think
left, and
no, Bournemouth is
Forgot
still
the last
there.
one.
Dude, I think
Sorry,
You're
what?
Wolves
asking
are
who
gonna
was
go
close to the bottom?
down. Wolves 19th.
Yeah.
Wolves.
Oh,
19th.
that might be a
Okay,
good shout. That's a good shout.
I would have said them if they hadn't fired Lopetegui
Lopetegui.
now. If they had waited and let him like zero enthusiasm the first couple games, they might have been in trouble. I think new coach bounce game 1, it's rare. I don't know how that's gonna pan out. I think
I
I
think-
think it'll be fine.
I think the coach bounce has to be like, oh, they were losing games, and then there's a bounce. But this
Yeah,
one
there's
is
definitely
like,
some
we're about to
stipulations to it.
we're about to start a season, and then like
Nah, but
back him.
Yeah, imagine
They're gonna be
how
like,
bad
oh my god.
imagine how
Everyone's gonna
bad
be
the vibes
feeling
were for them to sack the coach before. It had to be horrible.
But why
No,
were the
dude,
vibes
He
bad?
got sacked. He got sacked because they didn't give him a single player, dude.
Yeah, bro.
I mean didn't he do really well in the very end of the season?
What he didn't get sacked. He quit. So the story is
he resigned.
after the Celtic game in preseason, he met Bossman at the tunnel and was like, I can't do this. And he was like, calm, I'll like find the replacement and then we can handle it, right? So imagine how deflated you have to be as a coach to quit after a preseason game.
Or he was demanding to do better because he was really good last year. I feel like
He's a good coach. I don't think
Yeah.
it's his fault.
No,
for
he's
sure.
a good coach, dude.
yeah,
He's a good coach, that's for sure. But like,
for sure.
I feel like they're like, oh, give me more players. They're like, oh, if you get us like 17th place, you'll be fine. Just like try these like preseasons, try to come up with something new, and then if you don't do well, like we'll figure something out.
That's
then
a
he
good
didn't
shout.
know.
I think Wolves is a good shout. I think going down.
Fair. Okay, 18th, I got something controversial.
Me
Chelsea.
too. I think.
I got West Ham going down.
Oh,
Dude, me too.
Wait,
I think they just avoided it last year.
No, but they
And-
were busy with Europe. That's why.
They were busy with
we
They were
we gotta stop
playing.
using that.
They
No,
were
for sure.
playing Danish farmers, bro. Like it's for the squad that they had last year. They had Skamaka, Declan Rice, and
Skamaka's
Paqueta.
gone, man.
All three of which they will not have this year, and they
Listen,
were already
if-
struggling.
If they sell Paqueta, then that's like at least over 250 million that they have.
That's how they
from
spend it, dude.
selling.
Brother, they're spending it like a
They're
drug
getting
addict.
Maguire, right? Yeah, right.
They bought Ward-Prowse this morning, which is I think good.
Yeah.
Good, very good.
But Ward-Prowse got relegated last season, so he's not the guy to
What-
save
what-
you. You know what I mean?
Ward-Prowse, huh?
So I just think Moyes, they wanted him sacked. There were fans with get Moyes out of here signs at Prem games, and then he won them the trophy, and they're going to pretend like everything's changed. Nothing's changed. Football is a sport of fine margins. I know they won the game, but that guy doesn't work with that team, doesn't work with those fans. I think he'll be one of the first coaches sacked. I think they're going to be a lot of trouble this year. I think they'll go down.
Yeah, I have them there, but now I kind of want to put Wolves there, dude. Wolves is like I made this list like too early. I feel like Wolves is new chaos. I would maybe slot Wolves at 18 and then West Ham right above, because West Ham is targeting like these Brexit footballers, sure, but like I feel like that's strong enough to keep them up, like
Yeah.
right above 17. Like McTominay, Gallagher, these guys that they want, they're just good enough that they'll scrape by. But it's a toss up right now. Okay, I put West Ham, but maybe Wolves. Yeah.
Wait, West Ham is which place for you?
So I have them at 18.
Nibs, did you say you're 19th? I don't think you did you?
No, it was Sheffield.
Sheffield.
Oh, you were, yeah, me and you were on the same page. Okay, gotcha.
Mm.
And then who's your 18th?
My 18 is Everton FC.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was honestly surprised I didn't hear that.
It's about
I
time,
think-
honestly, dude.
I think, yeah, they need to get out of here.
I think they need to get out of here. I think I don't know. I haven't seen much of their preseason games, but I just feel like they scraped by last year. And Sean Dice, I feel like I don't know if he can hold it together. He's definitely getting fired halfway through after failing some games. I think they're gonna go down. Don't have much issues on it, but
Andash is the guy
They-
though.
They might go down, but they're taking points off us. That's a guarantee.
Dude, I hate playing there so much. I hate playing there, dude.
Dude,
It doesn't even feel like I'm watching rugby when we play at freaking Goodison Park. Dude, I hate it. Top
Last
3 worst
year-
stadiums to play at.
Our game at Goodison Park, bro. Oh my!
Ugh.
It was like, oh my god! I cannot describe the pain I was
Awful,
feeling.
dude.
I wonder why no team has gone for that Onana guy. They have. That guy's good.
Everyone is just so super priced out now. Like,
Yeah.
and these negotiations are so like just tedious. Like everyone's trying to get the last dollar they can, and it's fair. Honestly, they know that the top 6 has the most money. So
Yeah.
Everton can be like, yeah, we want 60 million for him, even if he's not
Yeah.
worth. I don't know.
Crazy. It's nuts.
wild. Because I think he's good. And I was like, for a second, I was like, if we're trying to just get young players who have potential, maybe he could have been an alternate to Caicedo, save you like 50, 40 million. Yeah.
All right, so let's give our bottom 3 summaries. I'll start.
let me
20th,
finish.
I got. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you have
Nottingham.
different 18?
18th Nottingham, yeah.
snap.
Yeah. They're terrible.
That's
last
wild.
season.
yeah, really?
Yeah, dude.
They
Even with
literally
my,
did
even with my
what we did.
dog, Matt Turner there?
Dude, they're not even signing players, like,
It's a dog.
Dude, but
fight
last
out
year
there,
they signed like 17 players, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chelsea are
kind
gonna
of
do
like
the same
small
thing.
scale. Yeah, I was gonna say the small scale Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just that game against us towards the end of the season where they took points and confirmed
Destroyed
that
us.
they were surviving. I think I don't know. It takes some balls to
They have
beat
good players.
challenging for the
I like
title.
Gibbs. I
don't know.
like Gibbs White a lot.
They were fighting for their lives, man.
Yeah.
But they showed they could do that.
Yeah, but like 38 game season, they're gonna fight for their lives of last 5 games. That's not gonna be enough.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
any
good.
combination of Everton, Forest, Wolves, like anyone can go down,
Yeah.
bro. Send them down
And
Palace, bro. Actually, no.
yeah, and also
Yes.
last season there was like 7 to 8 teams that were like almost
Yeah,
in the relegation
crazy.
battle. So like it gave everyone like kind of like a push to like finish the season
Yeah.
strong. Yeah. If it was like,
That's
oh,
true.
like we're not gonna
Stagnant,
make
yeah.
it even if we try
Yeah.
hard, like it's not gonna be. It's like every point counts. That's what it was.
Gotcha. Okay, now let's do recaps. I got Luton at 20th, Sheffield at 19th, and West Ham at 18th.
Same. Luton at 20th, same. Sheffield at 19. I have West Ham, but I want to do a sub in for Wolves.
Okay.
But
Fair.
so I put Wolves at 18 just off of the recent chaos and lack of transfer activity.
Yeah.
And I got Luton in 20, Sheffield at 19, and Everton at 18.
I got Luton 20, 19 Wolves, and 18 Nottingham Forest.
I like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Solid.
All
So,
right.
so that concludes our Prem placing predictions for the 2023-2024 season. We did the top 8. We did the bottom 3. We skipped the middle spots because honestly, everyone's kind of waffling when they talk about those. But yeah,
No,
hopefully we can come.
you ranked the middle spots. You said Chelsea 9th. And Nib said
That's
Newcastle 9th, So
But yeah, hopefully we can come back to this one day as our first episode and see if we were
See
right,
how
see if we
awful
were
it is.
wrong. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll laugh at this. But what I want you guys
Yo,
to
I
do
take
is
it back. Chelsea's winning the league. Yo, Farsi,
But-
you're right. What the hell?
but yeah, leave some comments what you guys want to see us discuss. It'd be great to have some feedback from you guys, what we could do better, what you'd like to see us talk about, what we got completely wrong, what we're really stupid about, anything. We'd love to hear it. Thank you, and that's us signing off.
Peace.
Peace.